Starting off with number 10, we have Laughing Jack. Laughing Jack is a clown-type creature with long arms and a creepy big smile, which is always plastered on his face. The clown can be seen wearing baggy pants with striped socks. He is a fashion trendsetter to say the least. Now, Jack's goal is to befriend children and entrust them before killing them. Reports have said kids go around talking about Jack as their imaginary friend. Once the children fall into Jack's trap, he would slice their stomachs open and fill it with candy. A disgusting human piñata. Who do you think would win in a fight? Laughing Jack or Pennywise the Clown? My vote is for Pennywise. Coming in at number 9, we have Mr. Bear. This next story is so bizarre and some even believe that it's true. Apparently in 1999 in Caledon, Ontario, they had a local TV channel called Caledon Local 21. Now on this channel, they had a children's show called Mr. Bear. Now we wish that this show was about cute friendly bears like Care Bears, but it definitely wasn't. Now this show featured a man dressed in a bear suit. Each episode he would welcome their guest, always a child. He would bring the child into the cellar and play games with them. It is said that he used the show to lure children to him. Some people claim to remember the show, other people have gone as far as to creating some episodes in a parody type fashion. I just find this very disturbing. For number 8, we have Charlie Charlie. Have any of you heard the saying, "Charlie, Charlie, are you there?" Well, it's part of a game designed to apparently contact the ghost Charlie. Charlie was a young boy who tragically passed away. Some people say he passed away in a car accident, others say he took his own life. And he has now come back to haunt whoever contacts him. Players that play this game are supposed to place 2 pencils overlapping each other to form a cross. The pencils are placed on top of a piece of paper that have 2 sections, yes and no. After they summon Charlie, apparently they can communicate to him through this contraption, using only yes or no questions. Charlie's end goal is to terrorize and harm anyone who plays this game. I wouldn't define it as a game because it's not fun, it's scary and dumb, don't play it. In 7th place we have Slenderman. Slenderman gained increasing popularity several years ago, and as a result several games, stories, and movie have been made. Now, Slenderman can be compared to the boogeyman. He is an extremely tall creature, sometimes seen with other tentacle-type arms protruding from his body. He wears a classy, nice tux. Like, seriously, I don't know how he found one that is like so form-fitting and like long enough for his body, but like, I guess he got it custom made. And the creepiest part is that he is faceless. He is just a pale, expressionless creature. Now, Slenderman is known to primarily prey on young children, often kidnapping them and either murdering them or convincing them to harm others. Mr. Slendy can be seen lurking around areas such as the park, the forest, and alleyways. Now, Slenderman, for as we know, is just made up by a man named Eric Knudsen. However, in 2014, 2 young girls stabbed a victim in the woods, claiming that they were carrying out a murder on Slenderman's behalf. Fortunately, the victim survived, but this goes to show how influential the internet is on young individuals. Coming in at number 6, we have MOMO. In 2019, a viral picture spread around the internet. I'm sorry for the image that you're about to see because it gives me the creeps looking at it. This photo features a girl with huge bulging eyes, straight greasy hair, and a thin large mouth. Apparently this girl's name is Momo and she is a demon or ghost that's goal is to get people to harm themselves. Now, a virtual game type challenge started going around on apps such as WhatsApp or even Snapchat, where apparently Momo would command people to do tasks that would lead them to commit acts of extreme violence. Other people said that Momo would appear in kids shows like Peppa Pig or in popular games like Fortnite to try and attract kids. Don't worry, this is a hoax. I did tons of research because I was so scared. I wanted to make sure that it was indeed fake, so you're welcome. So the picture of Momo is actually a sculpture made by the Japanese artist Kazuki Asawa. He titled this piece of art Mother Bird. When people saw the photo, that's when they started creating a story surrounding it. However, apparently some kids were influenced by this hoax and have actually died from playing it. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with Jeff the Killer. This story and the disturbing photo associated with it used to give me nightmares as a kid. Like, I would be terrified to open my curtains with the fear that Jeff was just lurking on the outside of my window. So apparently the story goes like this. Jeff was a young boy whose face was burned off with acid and then he was set on fire. His face became extremely terrifying looking, but he actually loved his new appearance. He also tried burning out his own eyelids and carved a smile up his cheeks. He often is seen wearing dark jeans and a white hooded sweatshirt that's stained with blood. Jeff hides in children's closets, tells them to go to sleep, and then when they do, he creeps out and murders them. In our fourth spot, we have Bloody Mary. Now, I'm not talking about the cocktail here. I wish I was. I feel like most people have heard of this story. It was really popular when I was a kid. In fact, I was stupid enough to try it with my friends, and thank gosh, nothing happened. So this legend surrounds a ghost named Bloody Mary. It spooks me just even saying her name. Now, it is said that if you enter the bathroom, turn off the lights, and look in the mirror and chant her name 3 times, nice try, I'm not gonna say it for the video, then she will appear in the mirror and potentially scratch you. Now, there are a lot of variations of the story. Some say you must be holding a lit candle, others say you need to spin around 3 times while saying her name, or even by saying, "Bloody Mary, I believe in you." I swear guys, if I get haunted for just talking about these stories, I'm not gonna be happy. This is the one story that I kind of believe just because my friends have done it and have witnessed paranormal stuff. But who knows? All I know is that I will never do it. Coming in at number 3, we have the girl in the photograph. Word from the wise, if you find a random photograph on the ground, don't go picking it up. Let me explain why. This legend revolves around a beautiful girl that changes her appearance based on her victim. Basically, whoever finds the photograph of her will become infatuated with her. She uses her beauty to brainwash her victims and then leads them to their death. In the photo, this girl also changes depending on how many people she killed. For example, if she killed 3 people, she will eerily be shown holding up, you guessed it, 3 fingers. In our second spot, we have I Feel Fantastic. In 2004, a video titled I Feel Fantastic was uploaded to YouTube. This video features a very scary mannequin type thing named Tara. Tara can be seen with her body completely still, but just her head and lips moving to the song that plays in the background. Now, Tara is not the best singer, and it sounds like a voice simulator type thing with high-pitched beats in the background. The song alone is very agitating to listen to. The robot lady thing was created by John Bergeron, who programmed her to sing the song he writes. Some of the lyrics include "Please leave" and "Run, run, run." The shots of Tara are intercut with her in different outfits and outdoor shots. Now, people believe that the creator of Tara has committed murder and that Tara is wearing the victim's clothes. They also believe that the outside random shots that don't seem to tie into the video actually show where the victims' bodies are buried. The creator also left a cryptic message in the video's description. He makes a reference to Pygmalion. Pygmalion was a Greek god who thought women were tainted and unworthy of love. He then decided to build his ideal woman and fell in love with her. People believe Tara was once the woman he loved, and when he found out she had too many flaws, he murdered her and created this robot thing to replace her. And in our number 1 spot, we have the Blind Maiden. This story gives me the heebie-jeebies, like zoinks. This legend surrounds a website known as blindmaiden.com. I suggest not going on that website. Please. For your own good. Apparently, it is said that you have no access to this website unless you enter at exactly 12 a.m. while being alone in a room with the lights off. If you succeed to meet this criteria, then you will be allowed to access the site. Now, on this site, it is said that you will encounter disturbing images of boys and girls without eyes and with distorted faces. It is said that you have to be careful not to click anything by accident, or else you will face the consequences. On this website, you will have 2 options: accept or decline. If you accept, then the monitor will change and display someone approaching your house. Then the video footage will change again and you will see a live footage of your back as you feel someone behind you. If you turn around, the maiden will rip your eyes out and take your picture. You will then be a part of the numerous other photos of eyeless individuals on the website. My question is what if you just don't turn around and face her? Like, she's there, you can feel her there, you just don't turn around. Now, if you choose decline, then you are safe from the maiden. Starting off at the top of our list, we have Mr. Widemouth. Now, this creature looks like a mixture of Furby, the Cheshire Cat, and a gremlin. It has a large mouth with sharp teeth, crooked ears, and glowing eyes. Apparently, Mr. Widemouth befriends kids and tries to convince them into doing dangerous tasks like harming themselves. It is said that he will hide underneath kids' beds and come out when their parents aren't around. He is nice to the children to develop trust before luring kids into danger. Honestly, I'm scared enough of Furbies as it is, so no thank you. Moving on down, at number 9, we have the Facebook messages. This legend surrounds a man whose deceased girlfriend was contacting him through Facebook. Apparently, Mark Zuckerberg has the power to connect people to the afterlife too. This story has been circulating the internet for quite some time, and people still don't know what to think. So, a man named Nathan posted the story along with the messages he shared with his girlfriend. Apparently, on October 7, 2012, his girlfriend Emily passed away in a car accident. 13 months later, Nathan started to receive messages from her Facebook account. He claimed that it was only him and Emily's mother that had her account information. The messages started out with Emily repeatedly saying hello. Nathan first dismissed these, thinking that Emily's mom was just accidentally messaging him from her account. But these messages persisted. Then Emily tagged herself in Nathan's photos, even though she wasn't even present in the photos. Then Emily started messaging Nathan what seemed to be random sentences like "cold out," "I don't know what's happening," or "garage side door." But these in fact were just recycled messages from their chat history. Now, Nathan didn't know what to think. He didn't know if it was just a hacker or if his girlfriend was trying to contact him. He even contacted Facebook and they told him that the only locations where the account was being accessed from was his house, his work, and Emily's mom's house. This continued on for a while until one day he was sent a photo. It was captioned "freezing" and showed Nathan sitting at his computer. This photo was taken from outside of Nathan's house. Freaky. What do you think of the story? Do you think that it was just some messed up prank or something more supernatural? At number 8, we have Bride and Go Seek. I love a good game of hide and seek. Honestly, as a child, I was so good at it, and now I wish that it was like a normal thing that adults can do. Like, imagine getting a group of people together and playing a giant game of hide and seek. That would be super fun, right? Well, not in this next case. After getting married, a bride and groom decided to play the typical post-wedding party game, hide and seek. Now, they had the wedding at the bride's big childhood farmhouse, which was perfect for hide and seek. Now, the groom was it, and the bride wanted to hide somewhere where he wouldn't be able to find her. As a result, she hid in an old trunk in the attic. Now, there are two variations to this story. One said that when she got into the trunk, the lid hit her and knocked her unconscious. She died of suffocation. The other variation says that the old lock was rusted over and she couldn't escape. Either way, she passed away in the trunk after no one was able to locate her. Several years later, when her dad went to the attic to clear out some things, he found his daughter's decaying body. Moving on to number 7, we have 8 feet tall. This is a creature also known as Hashuku-sama. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Basically, this creature is super thin and tall. Just as the name suggests, it is 8 feet tall. Now, she appears to be an attractive woman on the outside, but she is far from being human. This creature is known to trick and abduct kids. It is said that anyone who sees her is doomed to die in the next few days. She's said to have long black hair and is typically seen wearing a white summer dress paired with a wide-brimmed hat. In fact, she tends to attract children by comforting them and by making herself seem like a trustworthy adult. People also say that she can mimic the voice of their parents to try to trick the children. In our 6th spot, we have the basement coins. This next legend will teach any child not to steal. Basically, it surrounds a group of troublemaker boys. These boys often would commit petty theft, they would smoke and drink. One day, the leader Tyler had the idea to break into an old rich guy's house and steal his collection of valuable coins. They snuck into the man's house and made their way into his basement. Now, they did find the coins, but one of the dudes also found a bunch of horrific paintings. These paintings were gruesome and depicted torture. One picture was of a woman being burned alive. The other was of a man getting his head burned by boiling oil. However, there were multiple other disturbing paintings. Little did these boys know that these paintings were about to depict what was going to happen to them. The house owner caught them and he proceeded to rip out one of the boys' tongue. The other boy was pushed into an Iron Maiden. Now, one boy managed to escape, and when they reported this to the police, they found a full torture room in his house, and that was filled with mutilated bodies. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with Tommy Taffy. If you hate creepy dolls like Annabelle and Chucky, well, maybe this next story isn't for you. This story surrounds someone named Tommy Taffy. Tommy is described as being 6 feet tall with short golden hair. His skin is completely smooth. He has no pores whatsoever. He needs to drop a skincare routine right now. He is almost plastic looking. He also has piercing blue eyes, a perfect row of straight white teeth, but they're all the same size. So basically a human Ken doll. Now, Tommy may sound like a friendly man, but he is quite the opposite. He is said to come into families' homes and will stay for 5 years. If at any point you disobey Tommy, you will face the consequences. You have to do as Tommy says and obey his rules at all times. People that have stood up to Tommy have been severely injured, some even dying as a result. Also, there have been multiple attempts to get rid of Tommy, but no matter what, he will continuously show up at their home. Coming in at number 4, we have Expressionless. This story takes place in June of 1972. Hospital employees were terrified when a mannequin-looking woman entered the hospital in a white, blood-soaked gown. She definitely did not look human, which is the main reason why the hospital staff were so scared. Now, this woman was completely calm, motionless, and even expressionless, hence the name given to her. She started acting up when the hospital staff tried to sedate her. She fought back, looked at the doctor, and smiled. This revealed that she had long, sharp spikes instead of teeth. The doctor screamed, was killed by her, and the one thing she said after this was, "I am God." At number 3, we have ANNORA Petrova. ANNORA, or Annie, was a successful ice skater. By the age of 13, she was the champion of the Crystal Classic skating competition. Now, Annie decided to Google herself the day before the competition. That was when she discovered a Wikipedia page of herself. Upon reading it, she noticed that it said she won the Crystal Classic. But that competition wasn't until the next day. Well, this page predicted the truth, as she won it. This page continued to accurately predict Annie's success as a figure skater. So she was convinced that whatever is on the page will come true. That led her to edit the Wikipedia page, and she wrote that she won the Olympics. She hoped that this would also come true. However, she found that the page was edited again, but this time it read, "Annie is selfish and is going to get what she deserves." From there, her career took a dark turn. Another day, it said ANNORA Petrova is a pathetic little orphan whose real parents died in a terrible accident. Later that day, her parents passed away. The last thing that was written on this page was that she died October 24th, 2010. This also came true, and she was found dead on that day, hunched over her computer. In our second spot, we have Candle Cove. As children, we love watching cartoons. I always loved getting up early to watch Scooby-Doo. Let me know down below what your favorite childhood cartoon was. Now, Candle Cove is apparently a television show that some people watched when they were kids. This story started with one user by the name of SkyShale033 making a forum post asking if anyone else remembers the show Candle Cove. This user claimed that they had vague memories of the show and wanted to know if it was just a local show or if anyone else remembered it. There were then hundreds of responses claiming that they too remember the show. Apparently it aired in the Kentucky, West Virginia area on channel 58 at around 4 p.m. The show basically surrounds a girl named Janice and her imaginary pirate friends, which were puppets. Upon talking about the show with each other, they realized that the show was much darker than they realized. Apparently, there was a character named the Skin Taker that was a skeleton with a cape made out of children's skin. Then, people also remember an episode where the Skin Taker was screaming the whole time and Janice was crying. Now, the creepiest part about this is when the user Mike_Painter65 shared his encounter with this show. He said that he went to visit his mom in the nursing home and asked her if she remembered this show. The mother said she remembered it, and then stated that she was surprised that he still remembered it. She claimed that her son would say, "I'm going to go watch Candle Cove now, Mom." Then he would just tune the TV to static and watch that for 30 minutes. That is so creepy. So apparently kids remember watching the show, but all the adults saw was static. I think someone is out there targeting and brainwashing children. And in our final spot, we have the Russian sleep experiment. Now, this next urban legend is quite disturbing, and some people are even convinced that it's true. So, in the 1940s, Russian researchers were conducting unethical tests on enemy prisoners. They had 5 people that they planned to keep awake for 30 days using a gas-based stimulant. They wanted to see the effects sleep deprivation had on the brain. So as a result, they were sealed into a chamber with a promise that if they cooperated, then they would get released. For the first 5 days, everything was fine. But after the 5th day, that's when things started to take a turn. Eventually, one of the prisoners screamed until he shredded his own vocal cords. As each day passed, more and more terrifying stuff started to happen. When they decided to open the chamber to check on them, they were horrified. The floor was covered in blood, and one of the prisoners was dead with some of his flesh throughout the chamber. Now, the other 4 test subjects also had parts of their body torn off, but this wasn't from them attacking each other. In fact, it was all self-inflicted. Even some had exposed bone and deep wounds. They were then going to give them medical attention, but all of the prisoners said that they no longer wanted to be freed. They also kept saying they needed the gas that kept them awake. One eventually fell asleep and immediately flatlined. 2 of the other prisoners passed away also, and the remaining one went on a rampage and claimed that these prisoners were the evil inside the human mind that is kept sane by sleeping. Since they hadn't been sleeping, it unleashed this evil. Yeah, I definitely will be making sure that I try to get at least 6 hours of sleep every night. Starting off this countdown, we have Annie96 is typing. So basically, this legend is told completely by messages between Annie and her friend David. Annie is home alone talking to David when things start to get strange. Annie begins to hear footsteps outside. When she looks out her window, she can see a man standing in her garden. Upon looking at the man closer, she claims it looks exactly like David. But she freaks out because it appears that David is talking to her without touching his phone. Then this man breaks into her house. Annie is hiding out in her closet as he calls out to her in a deep voice, saying, "Come out, Annie, I just want to look at you." The text chat ends with Annie96 going offline. The creature that was embodying David got to her. In our 9th spot, we have the choking Doberman. So this legend states that one day a woman came home to her Doberman lying on the ground, not breathing. She took him to the vet to get checked out while she returned home. However, on the way home, she got a call from the vet. He said that she shouldn't return home since her dog choked on a person's finger. He thought that the finger was from an invader. When the police searched her house, she found a burglar hiding in her closet with a missing finger. Moving on to number 8, we have Kisaragi Station. So this legend started when a user posted on a forum called Post About Strange Occurrences. The user's name was Hasumi and she was on her regular train home. But this train seemed to not go to any of her usual stops. Instead, it traveled for an hour without stopping. The train finally stopped at a place called Kisaragi Station, but no one seems to be there and no one has heard of this station before. She then decided to walk back along the track where she came from. From there, she sees a one-legged old man before he quickly vanishes. Other strange occurrences also start to happen. Her last post was, "My battery's almost run out. Things are getting strange, so I think I'm going to make a run for it. I'm going to make this my last post for now." After that post, she was never heard from again. Making our way down the list, at number 7 we have the Song and Dance Man. What's so scary about singing and dancing? Well, just wait and see. So this story is told by a man named George who claims he encountered the Song and Dance Man and his horrors. Basically, this was a tall, gangling man with long, 6-fingered hands. I think that rhymed. Okay. He wore a red and white pinstripe jacket and a straw hat on his head. This man enticed members of the town to come into his tent for free to sing and dance. But as soon as the man started playing his fiddle, the people were not allowed to stop dancing. They danced for hours before people started dropping down. Once on the ground, they would be stepped on and crushed by the individuals that had no control of their body. One man ended up dying, yet his dead body kept on dancing while blood poured from his face. Eventually, the man stopped playing and let the survivors go. Moving on to number 6, we have Sally Stitches. Now, this is a chainmail letter urban legend. It surrounds a little girl named Sally whose eyes and mouth were sewn shut with a rusty needle. So, The legend says that a young girl named Ashley was bored one night, so she decided to make a fake chain email. She wrote a story about a girl named Sally who was hated by all the villagers. As a result, they threw rocks at her and teased her. That's when the girl announced to them that they will die in 3 days. The villagers who ended up picking on her ended up dying. That's when she was tied down and sealed into a mine forever, with her eyes and lips sewn shut. She finished this email with, "Send this to 12 people or else she will appear by your bed tonight with a needle in her hand." Her friends fell for it and sent the emails to their friends, including Ashley. But Ashley didn't forward the emails because she knew it was fake. However, that night she was greeted by Sally Stitches, holding a rusty needle in her hand. So, Ashley made up a story and it came to life. That's what you get for making chain emails. Don't send them, they're annoying. We are now at our 5th and halfway point with the correspondence. This urban legend is in the form of an email thread between Ross and Sean. Sean goes on to tell his friend about a weird instance of a woman following him around and watching him from inside his house. Things start to get creepier when he says that the lights in his house keep flickering and his computer is typing stuff on the emails all by itself. Then Latin phrases start to appear in his emails. One of them says, "He who will watch you burn for an eternity." Or, "Bloodstains on the walls, what a beautiful thing." The thread ends with him claiming that he saw the old woman's face on his computer monitor. Then he says, "Someone is in his home." So, who was this woman? And did it get to Sean? Who knows? Probably. Moving on to number 4, we have the story The TEETH.JPG. This legend surrounds a group of friends, the narrator, Josh, Lily, and Daniel. Basically, one night Lily went into Daniel's dorm to check in on him. The next day, the group had not heard from either one of them, so they decided to go check on them. When searching in Daniel's room, they came across a file on his USB titled TEETH.JPG. This image was quite disturbing. It was a weird, distorted image, red in color with a creature with their mouth wide open. Now, the day progressed and they still hadn't heard from Lily. They were getting scared because the last text that she sent was to her girlfriend and it said, "Help me." Thinking Daniel was to blame for her disappearance, they did more snooping. That's when they found a bunch of photos of Lily and pictures of an abandoned place and a train ticket. They followed these clues to an abandoned house. In the cellar, they found Lily. She was strapped down to the table. One of her arms was on the verge of falling off. The other arm was already completely gone. Lily's face was forced back. Her eyes had been gouged out and were filled with black wax. Her jaw was forced open and her teeth were ripped out and then rearranged and put back in. Turns out Lily was the girl in the photo on the USB and Daniel had tortured her and he claims that it was for the sake of art. In our 3rd spot, we have room 733. So this legend surrounds 2 college roommates, Lydia and Becca. They get assigned a room next to a room called the suicide room. Apparently, this room is now turned into a storage closet. But before that, 5 students either jumped to their death or hung themselves. People believe that something in that room makes people kill themselves. The girls end up hearing weird stuff every night, from scratching on the walls, to the windows opening and closing, to whispers. One of the girls even looked under the door to see a large yellow eye staring back at her. After multiple failed attempts to get their room reassigned, Becca decided to investigate. That's when she found out that the school underwent construction to build another hall. As a result, they moved the room numbers down, meaning that in reality, Becca and Lydia were staying in the suicide room. When she returns to her dorm, she discovers that her roommate Lydia had jumped to her death. This legend is actually really well done. I think it would make a great movie. Up next at number 2, we have the No End House. Basically, this legend surrounds a man named David who decided to embark on the task to reach the last room in a place called the No End House. All he had to do was get through each room and he would be rewarded with $500. Easy, right? But little did he know how much he was in for. The first couple of rooms he claimed were the easiest. Seems like it was just decorated with cheap Halloween decor. Door 3 was when everything changed. The room was filled with shadows, yet David didn't have one of his own. Door 4 was completely pitch black and filled with dead silence. He couldn't hear or see anything. He couldn't even hear his own breath. Door 5, he was struck with the sensation that bugs were crawling all over his body. He could hear and feel them, but he couldn't see anything. He continues through all the doors until he reaches door number 9. In that room, he says he was in hell. When he finally escaped, he took the money and returned home, until he saw the number 10 etched into his front door's house. So, what do you say? Would you be down to go through this haunted house? But it kind of reminds me of the McCamey Manor house, if you guys know what I'm talking about. And in our number 1 spot, we have Dear David. So, this story was posted in a forum of tweets from a man named Adam Ellis. He tweets about his scary experience of being haunted by a disfigured boy who must be addressed as Dear David. Over the course of 3 or 4 weeks, Adam shares what's been going on and even attaches images, videos, and audio files as proof. It starts off with this boy only appearing in his dreams, before crossing over into real life. The first time he saw this boy was during sleep paralysis. He claimed that the boy was sitting on his green rocker watching him. Then he had another dream where he was talking to a girl. This girl told him that the boy was dead. He only appears at midnight and you can ask him 2 questions if you say Dear David first. But if you ask him a 3rd question, he will try to kill you. He ended up asking some questions and found out that he died from an accident in a store where a shelf fell and crushed his head. Then, strange occurrences continued to happen. His cats would gather every night at his door and would whine. The tweets go on and on. He downloaded an app that takes photos every minute while he sleeps. That's when he first got a picture of David standing in the corner of his room, staring at him. Later, photos reveal David practically on top of Adam while he sleeps. It's actually really creepy. Adam ends the tweet saying he is okay, but the tweets are shorter than usual. So, people theorize that David finally got to him and is possessing him. And apparently, this is now being adapted into a movie, so I'll definitely be watching that when it comes out.